Nintendo has released a brand new app for iOS and Android, a mobile app that allows you to purchase Nintendo Switch games wherever you are. You can buy Nintendo merchandise wherever you are through your phone. So the mobile revenue that you use to pay for iOS, like, oh man, it goes for Nintendo. Oh, I can't wait to play games on my mobile. I guess I better pay for a Nintendo product. That is the end result of PC and mobile. The revenue going through PC and mobile is just going to go to Nintendo. It is going to support their console business. It is going to support their hardware. It is going to support their software. This is the natural endpoint for PC and mobile gamers. It will just be a platform that you can use to buy dedicated gaming hardware or software from Nintendo's official app. This should terrify any one of you who believe that Nintendo is going to be driven out of the console space or believe that mobile is like the highest grossing video game platform, because in reality, companies own those apps. That money isn't going to, like, the mobile incorporated. No, it's going to like Apple, it's going to like all these other places, and it's going directly to Nintendo. Mobile is not a competitor to Nintendo. It is another means, another method, another avenue in which Nintendo can reach their customers and sell their products. Instead of wasting money on $50 Nikkei skins where the lolly can like jiggle around in a bikini, people will be buying Nintendo games on mobile. That is the reality of it. You are gonna order games through your phone. You're gonna have Nintendo hardware shipped to your house. You're going to like play your games on Nintendo consoles while iOS games go completely untouched. That is the reality for gamers in the future. That Nintendo isn't going to be inhibited by the existence of PC or mobile. They are going to get bigger and bigger because of it. And this is why the PC Master Race cope of, like, gotcha taking over and like PC like becoming the dominant gaming platform is such a cope, is because of things like this. Because Nintendo is simply going to use these platforms as a means of promoting their own products. The idea that people had that dedicated gaming hardware was on the way out was a complete farce. Nintendo Switch 2 is the fastest selling console ever. PS5 and Series X are failing because they're Xbox and PlayStation, not because of gaming hardware. And there is no real competitor for Nintendo going forward. They've won. And at this point, people are still coping and seething about it. So many people are upset about the existence of the store and what it means for them and what they expect to see going forward. But like, the reality of the situation is that Nintendo is the market leader. There is no iOS mascot character. The entire cope that Angry Birds was going to be the next Mario and bigger than it ever was completely collapsed. Nobody cared when Sega bought Rovio for $1 billion, and they haven't done anything with the brand. That is the reality of all of these iOS knockoff games. Like, nobody's playing Temple Run. Nobody's playing, like, I don't know, that stupid lightsaber game from like 2008. Like, nobody's sitting there and telling you that is like uh, Nintendo is not losing money because of the existence of mobile. And that's kind of my point whenever I see like PC and mobile gamers like talk about how Nintendo is doomed. I just laugh in their face. I laugh at them. How are they losing money? How are they losing money due to mobile and PC existing? If anything, I prefer mobile and PC compared to PlayStation and Sega. Okay, like the nonsense they pulled back in the 90s of like, oh, we're gonna pay millions of dollars for exclusive titles, and we're gonna tell everyone that it's because the hardware was too weak. We're gonna run ads saying that like making up things like blast processing, and we're gonna have kids scream it on the playground despite not knowing the first thing about video games. We're gonna pretend that Mortal Kombat 2 on Sega Genesis looks identical to the arcade version, even though the Super Nintendo version is better than both. You know, that was the kind of thing that we used to see back in the 90s, back when we were growing up, back in the heat of the console wars. You were blatantly lied to about Nintendo, about video games, about consoles, about everything for years, and you just lapped it up. You thought you were cool because you played Alex Kidd. You thought Sonic the Hedgehog was a real legit success and not some AstroTurf video game mascot like conceptualized by Americans. Okay, like you genuinely believed that Nintendo was failing in the 90s when Pokemon became a cultural phenomenon. And all the copes you had back then about like, well, Pokemon's not really a Nintendo IP, or it's going to, or the fad is going to die, or that like uh older players don't care about it. Where are you now? Okay, Pokemon, like we're 30 years in, Pokemon is bigger than ever. Legends EA is this major hit on Nintendo Switch, and we are supposed to believe, we are honestly expected to believe that Nintendo is going to fail because of the existence of PC and mobile. That is completely ridiculous. Not only is Nintendo going to survive, they are going to thrive. How exactly is PC and mobile going to stop Nintendo? They're not. Okay, there is no getting around this. Saying otherwise is just a cope, right? You can't wrap your heads around the simple fact that Nintendo is just bigger and better than your favorite thing. That is what we are seeing here. That is what we're experiencing. That is what I'm noticing. This is something that everyone's brought up to me several times. Like Nintendo, like all of the copes about how Nintendo was going to fail have completely collapsed. And we're at the point now where people are like celebrating patents being re-examined because they're worried that patent might be used in a lawsuit against another company. Like the U.S. Power World, that U.S. patent had nothing to do with the actual Power World lawsuit. But like, my point is like, these guys are legit thinking Nintendo is going to somehow lose everything because of a lawsuit. And it really needs to be laughed at more about how little this kind of thing is actually going to affect them. Like how exactly is losing a lawsuit going to ruin their business? Like that's just the grim reality of it. Is like how exactly is PC gaming going to stop Nintendo's dominance? The answer is that it will not, and it never will.